The current gaming landscape is evolving and adapting extremely fast, and in this video I will explain why this is happening and why people feel this way. To make it easier, I've categorized games into two distinct types, authentic and forced. But first, let's understand why games like these are so successful. Clips like these explain the success of Lethal Company really well. The game is fun. Lethal Company and Palworld feel like a breath of fresh air among the many fumes of unimaginative re-releases, remasters and cash grabs. Over the past few years, gaming companies have gotten bigger and bigger, losing that personal feeling of entering someone's artwork. The focus has been on graphics, marketability and making games to maximize profits, instead of targeting why mostly everyone plays games: fun. When playing Lethal Company, you can sense the authenticity of the person that created the game. The core focus is to enjoy, and the rest are a bonus. It's a completely different feeling when you're playing an uninspired AAA title, being shoved a bunch of transactions, menus, having to do daily tasks, almost making it feel like a job, and lacking those details and elements that make you go, wow, and appreciate the vision of the creator. Palworld gave the players what they want: fun. How glitchy it might be, it skyrocketed in players, which shows how done people were with companies like Game Freak, and the measures of how badly people want something different. Every aspect of a game can be but if it's really fun to play, people will play it. Having played many different types of games in the past, and having seen many different opinions on games, I now understand what mostly differentiates lackluster games from games you would call beautiful. Passion. You can sense passion when it's there, like Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, made by one creator in the hardest programming language possible, that still has a huge fanbase after 25 years of release, coming from a game that came free with Serial. Or the passion of Stardew Valley, where the design, music, story, everything came from one person, giving it a personal feeling like you're entering their imagination. Indie games allow you to relate with the game's creator, instead of the creator trying to relate to you and many others. Many big developer games don't give this feeling in their titles, but this doesn't mean that bigger games can never give you a sense of passion. Halo, for example, had a huge team behind it, but everyone still felt the passion of the creators when playing it. It's just that in the current landscape, you're more likely to encounter passion in indie games. It's easy to see the passion that was put into Lethal Company and the uniqueness that results from it. Palworld, on the other hand, depicts the non-conformity of following rules and shows the general sentiment of players being done with modern gaming. Most media demand can be seen like a pendulum, swinging from one meta to another meta and back. What seems likely is that the authenticity meta is coming up, with pioneers like Palworld and Lethal Company at the forefront. Any industry will generally follow the path that is most profitable, so Palworld and Lethal Company racking in huge numbers is an amazing and promising sign for the future of games, and greatly depicts what the players want. These titles both had a tiny team and budget, yet still have beaten AAA titles with humongous teams and budgets. It's inevitable that gaming studios have to keep innovating to stay alive. Even though it might seem different with some titles right now, people won't keep playing the same recycled trash for years and years to come. The pendulum has to and will swing differently. Whatever your opinion on this might be, I think it is important to keep a positive outlook on gaming as a whole. There's been a big negative sentiment about gaming for a decent while now, which is of course not undeservedly placed, but I don't agree with it. There's many videos like gaming is boring now, or gaming has lost its touch. And yes, it's true, it's not the same as when you were a kid. The kid version of you would have been stoked to hear that there's a service called Game Pass, where you have access to hundreds of games instantly. But the now version of you will look at these games and won't feel the special connection you had when you were in the store picking between Diamond and Pearl. However, saying games are boring is insulting and lazy. I agree that the mainstream titles have been uninspired, but what about the thousands of unnoticed games and indie developers? And let's just say every game from now on will be trash. That doesn't make the games that have already been released less good. It just means that there are now more games to choose from. It might take a bit of effort, but you have to look a bit further to find your game. And I get it, it's easy to get overwhelmed when there's such a huge quantity to choose from. And it might have been easier when you would just buy a console and there were 3 main games to choose. But this problem is one of luxury. The conversation about the future of gaming has been aimed mainly on the negatives instead of the positives. Baldur's Gate 3 is, I think, an amazing example of what games are capable of. Technological advancement is certainly exponential, which makes you realize that where we are now is an absolute stone age of entertainment. It's becoming easier than ever to create games, which is super exciting for the future, and in a few decades or even sooner, it is certain that you will be sailing with your buddies across the Atlantic Sea like you're actually there. Games right now might be annoying and shit, but it is your own fault for choosing to play these annoying and shit games. Stop blaming the people who make games and instead choose to play ones you actually enjoy. This means something else for everyone, whether that is exploring a huge lore-filled world, getting the dopamine rush of that tight win, unlocking an entirely new area, finishing the base that took 100 hours, getting that perfect combo, or scamming at the Grand Exchange. Whatever that might be for you, just know that there are games out there which will leave you in awe and make you feel like a kid again. It just takes a bit of searching. And try something new. As we grow up, we often stick to old patterns. Try a new genre or game. The worst that'll happen is you don't like it and you gained a novel experience. But you have the chance of finding something that reignites your passion. Now, you might not agree with some of the things I said, or maybe not even with anything I said, and that's completely fine. But please just let me know in the comments. I'm not entirely sure yet which direction I will take my channel, but I will guarantee that it will be me, and that I will never stop. So if you're curious to see how my channel will develop over the years, consider subscribing, and let me know which game has resparked your joy for playing. For me, that would be Dave the Diver.